to another edition of the NJCAA Sports Page. I'm Robert Williamson. Well, it was another week in which we will have tenants of the top 10 moving out and some new or maybe some old teams, some previous tenants moving in because of some losses last week. Let's start going from 1 through 10. Number 1, East Mississippi, a 51-zip winner over Itawamba. Chad Kelly had his 4th TD passing game of the season, throwing for 406 yards. Camion Patrick returned to punt 75 yards. Quan Latham, a 95-yard interception return. EMCC registering their first shutout of the year, amassing nearly 600 yards of total offense, picking up their 17th straight victory. It was number 2 Iowa Western, a 42-27 winner over Ellsworth. It wasn't a particularly stellar day for the Reavers, but it was a win. Ellsworth had more total offense, but Iowa Western more first downs. Iowa Western more turnovers, 4, but Ellsworth more penalties, 20. Ellsworth had 119 yards rushing from Demarius Davis, but Devin Pay for Iowa Western finished with 141. Though it wasn't anything dominant, it was a win, and Iowa Western remains unbeaten. Number 3, Trinity Valley, a 63-26 winner over Southeast Prep. Another big day for quarterback Kyle Postma, throwing for 424 yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 receivers caught touchdown passes, including Jarvis Baxter and Darius Floyd, who both had better than 100 yards receiving and a couple of touchdowns. Trinity averaged more than 11 yards per play and overcame 5 turnovers to rout Southeast and improved to 5-0. Number 4, Mississippi Gulf Coast over number 6, Jones County by a final of 42-3. This MAC-JC South showdown between number 4 and number 6 expected to be a tightly contested battle. It was not between these two division rivals. The Bulldogs dominated all phases of the game, compiling 486 yards of total offense while holding Jones to just 153. Mississippi Gulf Coast recorded 20 first downs compared to just 7 for the Bobcats. Meanwhile, Auburn head football coach Gus Malzahn, he was there to see Jason Smith, the freshman quarterback, who had himself a pretty nifty night. 16 of 20, he threw for 3 touchdown passes. The only Bobcat points of the game, they came on a Cole Bird 45-yard field goal. That happened in the 3rd stanza. Number 5, Hutchinson, a 43-26 winner over Dodge City. Going into the half, Dodge trailed only 14-12 to the Blue Dragons, but it was the 4th quarter that belonged to HCC, despite the fact DC3 was only down 23-19 going into that final stanza. But the Blue Dragons edge away. They owned the 4th quarter, starting things off by 2 touchdowns, first on a 15-yard run and then on a 42-yard pass play less than 2 minutes apart. Then came a pick 6, and before you knew it, the Blue Dragons were on top and stayed on top as the ball game wraps up with the Blue Dragons victorious. Number 7, Nassau, a 45-44 winner over Lackawanna, a game that featured 45 first downs, 800 total yards of offense, 89 points, 8 touchdown passes. Nassau, though, blocked a John Williams EPA after time had expired. Lackawanna scores on the last play of the game, but that blocked kick preserves the win for Nassau. Lackawanna turned the ball over 6 times, accrued 122 yards in penalties, as Nassau again benefited from the miscues of its opponents to remain unbeaten. Kilgore upsetting number 8 Navarro 37-31. As time expired, Lewis Daly caught a pass down the middle of the field for a 40-yard reception, dragging Navarro defenders across the goal line to defeat number 8 Navarro College, the Bulldogs, 37-31. Navarro had tied the game at 31 each with only 30 seconds left. KC, though, finishes the game on the 40-yarder and with a total of 543 yards of offense, 226 rushing, led by Davis, who had 11 carries for 137 yards and a TD. Daly finished with 7 catches for 143 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Number 9, Tyler, a 61-38 winner over Cisco. Cedarian Copeland ran for 131 yards. He threw for 129. Meanwhile, Melvinson Hartfield had 129 yards in receptions as Tyler Community College overcame 121 yards of penalties to improve to 4-1. Number 10, Arizona Western, a 49-13 winner over Pima College. Arizona Western totaled more than 550 yards of offense behind Trenton Hossig's 200 yards passing and Terrell Aldridge's 147 yards rushing. Defensively, Paul McGlure had 14 tackles, broke up 2 passes as Arizona Western won their 5th of 6 games this season. Well, here's that part of the program where we always take a look at an NFL player who began his career in the NJCAA. Let's talk about LeGarrette Blount. LeGarrette Blount played collegiately at Oregon. He was signed as a free agent with San Francisco, placed on waivers. 49ers were hoping to keep him, though. They wanted him on the practice squad. Tampa Bay messed that all up. They claimed him off waivers. He becomes a two-season 1,000-yard rusher for the Bucs, then went on to play for the Patriots, had some big games there. This year for the Steelers has had some sensational games. But he began his career playing NJCAA football. And where did he begin that career? I'll tell you right after the break. At the 36-yard line, Jarvis Hall.
Awfully close. Kemp will wave and miss. Strikeout, getting over. The Royal team leaves a man at third.
Welcome back to the NJCAA sports page. There are new tenants in the top 10, and our polls and the NJCAA top 10 polls are getting more similar. Let's take a look at both. Here's the time that we look at the top matchups in the top 10 this week. And we've got two games we want you to look at very closely. Number 5, Hutchinson playing Coffeyville. This is a KJCCC matchup with two teams that are unbeaten in the conference. Hutchinson has played a couple of games where they have not played particularly well. Coffeyville, on the other hand, on a roll. Lost their first game of the season, have won 4 straight. This is a big one, and it involves the number 5 ranked team in the nation. Number 7, Nassau playing host to Georgia Military College. It's a game you can watch right here on JockJive.com. Nassau has had their troubles. Barely beat Lackawanna. Now they're taking on a Georgia Military squad, which lost their first 2 games of the season, but we knew they would get better. And they have gotten substantially better, scoring better than 50 points in their last 3 outings. They take on Nassau. That's a big game in New York, and we'll be there for the coverage. Well, let's take a look at LeGarrette Blount. Where did he start his NJCAA football career? We know his exploits in the NFL and how well he fared at Oregon, 1,000-yard rusher there. But did you know he had 2 1,000-yard seasons as a Lion with East Mississippi Community College? We would be remiss without mentioning the 4 young ladies who lost their lives in a tragic automobile accident. Ladies who played softball for North Central Texas College. 19-year-old Megan Richardson, 18-year-old Caitlin Woodley, 20-year-old Jaden Pelton, and 20-year-old Brooke Deckard. Our hearts, our thoughts, and our prayers are with their families. This wraps up another edition of the NJCAA sports page. Thanks again for watching. Quick reminder, we're all over the country. New York this weekend, next week, who knows where we will be producing sports events and shows just like this one. If you'd like more information as to the JockJive Sports Production Company, email us info@jockjive.com. Please visit our website too, JockJive.com. There you can like us on Facebook, you can follow us on Twitter, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will see you next week for another edition of the NJCAA Sports Page. It is produced by James Crenshaw. I'm Robert Williams.